are on the last two chapters of The Winter Wonderland by Hello Kitty, so there's quite a lot of pages, so I'll just jump straight into it. Okay, chapter 5, Snowstorm. In Winter Wonderland Gardens, the snow was white and beautiful, and the frosty air stung Hello Kitty's cheeks. There was a small ice skating rink filled with people and a sign arrow on it. Santa's grotto this way. The arrow pointed into the woods where a path of wooden boards had been put down through the trees so that it was easier for people with buggies or wheelchairs. Twinkling fairy lights had been strung from the branches of the trees on either side of the path. It looked very magical. They headed towards the path, but just then Tammy spotted a paddock where 8 brown and white reindeer were munching on a pile of hay. They had big antlers and thick shaggy coats, and there was a big red sleigh next to the paddock piled high with presents decorated with tinsel. The Friendship Club ran over to where a man was brushing one of the reindeer. He smiled and gave them some treats that the reindeer liked, and as the reindeer came over, Hello Kitty took off her gloves so she could feel their soft coats. They nuzzled her hands to eat the treats and looked at her with gentle brown eyes. She thought they were the most beautiful animals she had ever seen. Dear Daniel asked if the reindeer pulled the sleigh that was by the gate, and the man told him that the reindeer could pull it, but it was just being used for decoration at the moment. The presents on it weren't real, but they went to Santa's grotto. Then they would all get a real present there. Minnie peeled Hello Kitty's arm and pointed. 4 people dressed as elves were walking out of the woods. They were wearing cute costumes, a green shirt and a top with a big belt, tights, black boots and green hats. Hello Kitty wished she had a costume like that too. Just then a snowflake floated down out of the sky and landed on Fifi's nose. She sneezed and they all giggled, but it was followed by another and another. Snowflakes were suddenly swirling out of the clouds. Oh dear. There was going to be a snowstorm. They had better take cover inside for the moment. Hopefully the snow would stop soon and the elves could take them to see Santa in his grotto. Everyone squeezed back into the hall. It was so warm inside that they had to take off their coats, hats and gloves. They found Mama and left them with her and went to explore the stalls. Hello Kitty had a small red purse full of money. She listened to her friends chatting as they walked around and then snuck off to buy their Christmas presents. She thought a snow globe for Fifi, a book about penguin for Tammy, a picture of a reindeer for dear Daniel. There, all her Christmas shopping was done. She already had presents for her family. When everyone else had finished their shopping, they stopped for a hot chocolate. Fifi looked out the window to see if the snow had stopped yet, but no, it was still swirling down. What could they do? Just then there was a loud voice over the speakers asking for quiet, as the carol singers were about to start. Perfect. The Friendship Club all settled down to listen. The sweet singing put big smiles on everyone's faces until, glancing out the window, Tammy gave a cry. At last, the snow had stopped. They had started to go outside to finally see Santa. But Hello Kitty saw the elf helpers just by the back door looking very worried. What was wrong? Hello Kitty went to check, and a very pretty elf girl told her the snow had completely covered the path that had led to Santa's grotto, and now no one would be able to get there at all. Oh no, what could they do? This really was a disaster. Winter Wonderland wouldn't be nearly so much fun without a visit to Santa. Hello Kitty knew that with all the visitors would be very disappointed. Hello Kitty went back to tell the Friendship Club they all wished there was something they could do to help and fought hard. Then dear Daniel noticed a spade leaning against the wall. Maybe they could all dig the snow from the path to clear it. If they worked together, it might not take long, and the Friendship Club were very good at working together. Hello Kitty quickly ran to the elves as she had told them the idea. Their faces lit up. It could definitely help if they all worked together. All the elves hurried to find some more spades. Everyone put on their outdoor clothes again and told Mama where they were going. As the elves hurried back with the spades, they all stomped outside to start. The children had to be able to get to see Santa. They began to clear the snow from the path that led across the garden and into the woods. It was hard work, though. Soon they had cleared a path, the path that had led across the garden. They started clearing the path that led through the woods, but oh no. As they went round the first corner, they saw that a rotten tree had fallen across the path. Its branches rayed down from so much snow. Dear Daniel climbed over it, but what about the children in buggies or the people in wheelchairs? They wouldn't be able to get past it at all, but what could they all do? Everyone put down their spades and scratched their heads. They tried to move the tree themselves, but it was just too heavy. What else could they try? Minnie wondered aloud. Was there any other way through the forest? An elf explained that there was, but without the wooden pathway the snow would be too deep to push buggies or wheelchairs through. The wheels would sink into the snow. There really seemed to be no way through. They headed inside sadly to tell everyone the bad news. But as they came out of the woods, Hello Kitty saw the reindeer and gasped. She had an idea. Couldn't the reindeer pull the big sleigh? It would slip easily across the deep snow. People could ride on it and visit Santa that way. What did everyone think? They all started talking excitedly. It was a super idea. The elves said they would go inside and make an announcement, and the man looking after the reindeer said they would enjoy it. The reindeer loved pulling the sleigh. We would need to get the sleigh cleared and the reindeer harnessed up, though. Tammy and Fifi grinned and asked if he would like some help. He smiled and nodded. The more the merrier. The Friendship Club sprang into action. First, they cleared the presents off the sleigh, and Tammy and Minnie cleaned it while dear Daniel, Fifi, and Hello Kitty helped harness up the reindeer. There was lots of buckles to do up. The reindeer tossed their antlers excitedly and stamped their hooves. They seemed to know what was happening. They fastened their reindeer to the sleigh. The reins even had bells on them, so that the sleigh twinkled as it moved. And then they were ready. The man got into the driver's seat and the Friendship Club jumped on board. It was time to pick up some passengers. He shook the reins and they set off. Towards the hall, the sleigh slid smoothly across the snow, the bells jingling. Hello Kitty grinned at Minnie. This was definitely the best way to travel on a snowy day. A queue of people were waiting by the door with the elves. The little children were looking very excited. They hadn't expected they would have a special sleigh ride that afternoon. Hello Kitty and the others jumped off to let everyone else go to Santa's grotto. The first elves helped the children onto the sleigh, and the grown-ups got ready to walk beside it. Mama had fetched some warm and cozy blankets from inside, and the Friendship Club tucked everyone in before the man shook the reins and the bells twinkled, and off the sleigh they went. Hello Kitty and the Friendship Club waved the first load of passengers away. After a little while, the sleigh came back with some very happy children, all clutching brightly coloured presents. And then it was time for the second load of people to go and visit Santa. The sleigh made trip after trip. By the time of the last group of people got back from the grotto, the sun was setting in the sky, but at least everyone had been to see Santa. Everyone apart from the Friendship Club, that is. A smiley girl dressed as an elf turned to the Friendship Club. It was their turn now. They had helped save the day, and she knew Santa was really looking forward to meeting them. Hello Kitty and the others exchanged excited looks. What was Santa going to be like? They couldn't wait to find out. They climbed on the sleigh and tucked the blankets over their knees. There was even more room for Mama to ride with them too. The reindeer moved off and the Friendship Club clutched each other's hands. They were off to Santa's grotto finally. Hooray! Chapter 6. Santa's grotto. The sleigh slid across the thick snow and into the trees. It was dusk outside, inside the woods now. The fairy lights twinkled, lightening their path. The bells on the sleigh jingled every time Hello Kitty breathed out. Her breath rose in a white cloud. On the air, as they went deeper into the woods, Hello Kitty felt her heart beating faster. What would Santa be like? Minnie squeezed her hand. She was excited too. Look, Fifi pointed through the trees. Just ahead of them was a little wooden cabin. Golden light was spilling out of the window. Long icicles hung down from the roof. There was a holly wreath on the little door and 2 elves waiting beside it. The sleigh stopped and the elf helpers helped Mama and the Friendship Club down. They whispered that they had told Santa all about the Friendship Club had helped, and he wanted to say thank you. They knocked on the door and a deep voice told them to come in. Hello Kitty led the way inside and everyone crowded in behind her. The hut was warm and cozy with a circular rug, a fireplace, a Christmas tree, and sacks of presents. Santa was sitting in a chair beside the fireplace. He had a long and white beard and was really tall, with big black boots and a big round belly. He gave them a twinkly smile. So this was the Friendship Club who had helped everyone today. He heard all about them. For once, no one in the Friendship Club seemed to know what to say. It was amazing to be standing there with Santa deep in the middle of the woods with the reindeer outside stamping in the snow. They gazed at him in wonder, and he gave them a big smile. He had some special presents for them. He said to say a big thank you for saving the day at Winter Wonderland. He hoped the presents would always help them to remember how they had been his special helpers. He reached into the sack at his feet and handed each of them a present wrapped in red and green tissue paper with a big bow on it. They all said thank you, and Mama and Santa smiled. Santa told them not to forget to leave out their stockings and pillowcases that night. He had a feeling they might find more presents in the morning. But now it was time to go. Santa had work to do. The Friendship Club all waved goodbye and then went back outside and got into the sleigh. As the reindeer pulled them back to the hall, They'd all started to talk at once. Hadn't Santa been wonderful? He had just been just like they had always imagined him. It had been lovely to be able to help him. Mama said she was very proud of them all, and Hello Kitty asked if they could open their presents. Mama smiled and nodded. She was sure Santa wouldn't mind if they opened one present a day early. They all ripped off the tissue paper and Hello Kitty squealed so loudly that 2 of the reindeer jumped. Santa had given them all little elf costumes. Wow, super wow. Hello Kitty held up the little green costume and hat. She couldn't wait to get home and try it on. Everyone else was delighted with their costumes too. They would never forget helping Santa now. The sleigh stopped outside the hall, which was still lit up brightly, even though the rest of Winter Wonderland was starting to empty. Everyone was going home to get ready for Christmas Day. Hello Kitty and her friends hugged and patted all the reindeer. It was time for them to go to their big warm barn for the night, where they had a thick bed of straw and a manger of hay. Mama smiled. It was time for Hello Kitty and her friends to go home too. After all, there were stockings to put up and milk and cookies for Santa and carrots for the reindeer to put out too. Put in Fifi, everyone giggled. They couldn't forget that after today. The Friendship Club said goodbye to the elf helpers and skipped to the car park together. Clutching their presents and parcels, Hello Kitty thought it had been the best Christmas ever. It had even made her think up another new Friendship Club rule. Good friends always work together to make sure no one is left out, not even Santa. The others laughed and agreed and hugged each other goodbye. They would see each other the next day because everyone was coming round to Hello Kitty and Minnie's house to swap presents in the afternoon. Hello Kitty and Minnie got into the car and waved goodbye. As Mama started the car to drive them home, stars were just starting to twinkle in the dark sky. And just for a moment, Hello Kitty she saw a sleigh soaring up above the trees. She smiled happily to herself and sighed, "Merry Christmas and a super New Year to everyone." The end.